They raised their voice. They said things they shouldn't have. They made you feel small, confused, maybe even guilty. And then, somehow, they were the one who got hurt. Now you're the one explaining, apologizing, trying to fix something you didn't even break. And a part of you keeps thinking, how did this flip so fast? If you've ever felt this, you're not crazy, and you're definitely not alone, because this pattern is more common than people think. It's when someone does something wrong, but instead of taking responsibility, they turn themselves into the victim, not always in an obvious way. Sometimes it's subtle. They shut down. They act hurt. They say things like, "You always misunderstand me. You're too sensitive. I didn't mean it like that." And suddenly, the focus shifts from what they did to how they feel. And without even realizing it, you start questioning yourself. Maybe I overreacted. Maybe I should have handled it better. Maybe it's not that serious. But deep down, you know what happened? You felt it. And this is where things get important. Because this isn't just random behavior. It's a pattern. And most of the time, it's not about you. It's about how they deal with being wrong. Some people can sit with it. They can admit it. They can say, "Yeah, I messed up." But others can't handle that feeling. To them, being wrong doesn't just feel uncomfortable. It feels like losing control, like being exposed, like being the bad one. So instead of facing that, their brain protects them. It flips the situation. Now, they're not the one who hurt you. They're the one who feels attacked. Now, they're not responsible. They're misunderstood. And this happens so fast that even they might not realize they're doing it, but you feel it. That shift, that moment where the conversation stops being about the issue and starts being about their emotions instead. And if this happens again and again, you start adjusting yourself. You bring things up less. You explain more carefully. You avoid certain topics, not because you're wrong, but because you're trying to avoid that flip, that moment where everything turns on you. And slowly, you start losing your voice in the relationship because it feels easier to stay quiet than to go through that cycle again. Now, here's the part most people don't realize. People who constantly play the victim aren't always trying to manipulate you. Sometimes, they just never learned how to take responsibility without feeling like they're being attacked. Maybe growing up, being wrong meant getting blamed, getting criticized, getting shut down. So their brain learned something simple. If I'm the victim, I'm safe. If I turn this around, I don't have to feel that. And now, that pattern is still running, even in adult relationships. But understanding this doesn't mean accepting it. It just means you see it clearly. And once you see it, you stop getting pulled into it the same way. You stop over-explaining. You stop apologizing for things you didn't do. You stop trying to fix their emotions for them. And instead, you stay grounded in what actually happened, not the version that got flipped. Because the truth is, a healthy relationship doesn't require you to shrink yourself just to keep the peace. It doesn't require you to carry both sides of the emotional weight. And it definitely doesn't require you to feel guilty for someone else's actions. So if this felt familiar, pay attention to that pattern, not to blame them, but to protect yourself. Because once you recognize it, it loses its power over you, and you start responding differently, not emotionally pulled, but clearly aware. If this explained something you've been dealing with, subscribe for more real, relatable psychology videos like this, because sometimes understanding the pattern is the first step to finally breaking it.